you. Hey, everybody. How are you? Now, this is a fun reason to be here, right? Thank you so much for being here. Few people I'd like to recognize with me is First District Councilmember James Brown, who represents this area. And we have Monica Conrad, our Director of Parks and Recreation. She has been a great leader, by the way, for our parks team. I also want to recognize Council Member at Large, Chuck Ellinger, and also General Services Commissioner Chris Ford is here. And Chris's leadership with our team, our city team, has just led to so many great success stories. He used to be our Social Services Commissioner, and now he's transitioned to General Services. And so let's just talk a little bit about why we're here. And this next part has to do with Laura Hatfield, who started One Lexington in 2017. She created and helped get going the Winburn Community Partners team. So thank you very much. And I think there are several members. I'm going to ask you to raise your hands, members of the team. Are you on the Winburn Partner? Raise them high. Look at how many we have. Thank you. It takes, as Divine Karama says, it takes a village, doesn't it? And so one of the needs that they identified was for youth to have more diverse activities at MLK Park. And I also want to say a word about the Tanaka family, a Lexington family, there you are, helped lead the charge for Futsol, which I had never heard of until this, to come to the Winburn area. Mark is with us today in the nice sun hat with the camera. Mark and Tori's son Jonathan worked with Councilmember Brown and the Winburn Community Partners team to bring futsal to the Winburn area. This is a great example of how our One Lexington program, bringing the community together to provide more meaningful opportunities for our youth and families, and it's a great thing. I want to thank our Winburn neighbors and their commitment to making their community a priority. That's really what being a healthy city is all about. Neighbors helping neighbors, working together to improve their community. And speaking of all that, I want to thank, first of all, our officers in blue who are here. Thank you for being here. And I'm going to pick out one, Officer Moravchik, Neighborhood Resource Officer. Go ahead. There you are. A lot of people here know you anyway. Thank you very much for all your good work. And so we are so excited to bring this beautiful new futsal court to MLK Park in the Winburn neighborhood. Futsal is increasing in popularity, and our parks team is always working to provide public access to all sorts of sports activities because we know our people like that. So next, I'd like to invite Councilmember James Brown to the podium to say a few words. Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to all the community partners that are here today, and for Councilmember Chuck Ellinger for joining us. This project and a lot of projects that we have throughout the district, I'll always make it aware that these are collaborative efforts. It takes folks in the community, it takes folks in Fayette County Public Schools, it takes folks in city government, and folks that are just invested and involved to make these initiatives happen. This conversation started from the Winburn Community Partners Group. It was, I think, a group of students that reached out to their teachers and school administrators about the lack of access to be able to play soccer-related sports in this park. It's a big park. There's a lot of green space. There's a lot of football teams that play up here. There's a lot of baseball practices and other activities, and it was hard to find a dedicated place for folks that wanted to play soccer and futsal to have that place to play. Um, Identifying a location, talking about identifying where funds would come from to repurpose this tennis court that was very seldomly used to become a futsal court took some effort and some work. So I applaud Laura and Monica and her team at Parks for working and to being consummate advocates of this court. I'd like to thank Officer Moravchek, who gets phone calls all the time about folks playing soccer and kicking balls into windows, into the church buildings throughout the neighborhood. So hopefully this gives him a place to direct those folks that want to play that sport. And as we look for other opportunities in this park to create those spaces. Wimburn is a true gem in our community, and it's ever changing. We have projects in line that will help open up this neighborhood and make it connectable to other amenities throughout our community. And I think there's also going to be some opportunities in those efforts to put more amenities in this park. So please stay engaged. Please continue to be advocates for our young people. Please continue to be advocates for our parks. And I'll end with this. I was reading an article in the paper the other day, and it criticized council's continued investment in parks. But I think that thought gets missed on how important parks are to our communities and to our neighborhoods. I said this before, parks are the living rooms of our neighborhoods. And a lot of times it's the first place that people get to engage and interact with different types of people, people that come from different backgrounds, have different beliefs and different values. And I think that's where we actually culminate and actually become a community. So the more that we can invest in our parks, the more it gives us an opportunity to come together and become that community that we want to be. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Brown. And to your point, parks were a gem during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we had so many people come out into the parks because they couldn't go other places. So thank you again. Next, I'd like to ask our Parks and Rec Director, Monica Conrad, to tell us a bit about the court, how it works. You know, I'm used to soccer on grass, so this is a new thing, and it's great. Welcome. Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. I was in similar situation when I first came to Parks that I didn't know what futsal was either. So it's an exciting, really fast-paced, small-sided court, as you can see here, often repurposed on basketball courts or tennis courts. We find that the biggest soccer nations in the world are built on a futsal foundation, serving as building blocks for our next soccer greats. The sport places a large emphasis on technical skill in high-pressure situations. You can see that here on our court today. It's a much smaller footprint than you would see in a traditional soccer field. The sport is a great skill developer because it helps develop those quick reflexes, ball control, fast thinking, and pinpoint passing. Futsal presents many opportunities to score goals that you don't necessarily have in soccer, that might take a little longer, and encourages regaining possession of the ball. It's become a key component in player development as Lexington continues to see growth in our youth soccer programs. We see that from LYSA, the Lexington Youth Soccer Association, the YMCA, Fayette United Soccer Association, Commonwealth Soccer Club, and I Am Third. The announcement of the USL League One team expanding to Lexington only increases our city's need to have diverse futsal and soccer offerings in our community. Investing in public space, as you heard Councilmember Brown and the Mayor both say, has never been more important, and we appreciate their support. We could not have accomplished this project without their support, Commissioner Ford, our Wimburn partners, the Lexington Public Police, the Fayette County Public Schools Law Enforcement, and our Parks team who champion and maintain these projects throughout the city. I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention Gabe Knowles, who's with us today from our Parks Advisory Board. They help shape our decision-making in parks. And also the students from Wimburn. The Student Technology Leadership Program brought here today the students by Jay Jones and Ray Gonzalez at Winburn Middle School. And these folks are in their News and Journalism Club. So they'll be doing some interviews today. If we can give them a round of applause. So enjoy the futsal court. We've got a couple balls out here if you want to try making a goal. And I'll hand it back over to the mayor.
We'll do a challenge. I need to challenge the council members. Believe it or not, now I know you won't believe this, but long time ago I coached Lysa soccer. My daughter was under 12 and they didn't have a coach, so I did it. So thank you, Monica. You do such a wonderful job with our Division of Parks and Rec, and I appreciate you. And I want to thank each and every one of you who've been involved with this new court and bringing it here. And it's a great way to showcase the partnerships that several folks have referenced between neighbors and the city. And the pandemic taught us big time how important partnerships are. We can get so much more done together in partnerships. So thank you to everyone. We're going to actually cut a ribbon, then maybe kick a few balls, right? So give us a second and we'll have a ribbon to cut. By the goal?
By the goal.
By the goal. Here's mine. Perfect.